So pinpointing your data. I love infographic assignments, especially when the whole class is assigned one, because I see so many interesting topics, and they range and they vary. And some of those topics, I'm sure you can find a lot of information on, but it's really up to you as the designer of your infographic to pinpoint what information belongs on your infographic. And I like to use this example. What's this? What is it? It's not a trick question. TTC, right? It's a subway map. And where do you see the subway map? Probably in the subway, right? And the people that are looking at this map, maybe they're a little lost and they want to learn how to get to, maybe they're at Yorkdale Station and they want to go to Castle Frank Station. So they're lost, they don't know where to go. They look at this map and they're like, oh, Yorkdale, found it, perfect. Now I have to get to Castle Frank. Okay, I'm gonna go south until I get to St. George. I'll cross over and get to Castle Frank. Now I know where to go. Does this map tell me which subway stations has a Starbucks nearby? No, it doesn't, because that information is not important to someone that's lost. Maybe it's important to someone that's thirsty, but that's not my audience when I design this, or when the person designed this map. And is this an infographic? Yeah, sure it is. It's graphical information, for sure it is. So the person that designed this map was very cognizant of their audience. Their audience only needs information that helps them get to get to point B from point A. So let's look at this map one more time. And now it's a little different, right? Now it's talking about walking distance. It's telling me that if I am at this station, I don't know what station it is, it doesn't have a name, but if I'm at this station and I get to this station, it'll take me 25 minutes to walk. That information might be useful if I was doing a walking tour of Toronto, but not if I'm lost in the subway. So although this information is correct, it's left out of the map because it's not important to the audience. And I guess that's the point I'm trying to say. When you make your infographic, really be concise about what information you're including. Because if not, it might just confuse the person looking at your infographic, especially if you overload it. But the same can also be said if you don't provide enough information. Sketch out the design. I always recommend having a clear idea of what you want your infographic to look like before you start building. I've seen students come in and they've drawn out their infographic by hand. It's a little bit much, but if that helps you, for sure. But having a direction of where you want to build just helps you when you're gathering resources and making decisions. And I like to use this example when I talk about this. I help students make videos in the studio sometimes, and I get these students and they come in a group and they're enthusiastic and they want to make a video, they're ready to go, and I set everything up and I ask to see their script to help them along, but they don't have a script. Okay, fine. So they start shooting and they're recording their video, and they're saying uhs and ums, and they're nervous, they don't know what to say, and they have to reshoot a couple times, but they finish. Perfect. Then they start editing. And while they're editing, they're realizing, hey, I should have been holding a clipboard in this scene. Or I want some text right beside me, but because they were standing in the middle of the shot, there's no space to put any text. So now they have to think of a solution. Maybe we'll reshoot the scene again, maybe we won't put text, maybe we'll do something else. It becomes a little bit more harder to do. But had they thought about that 1 second before shooting, all they would have to do is take one step. Now they have all the space they need. So again, having that kind of like general conception of what you want your infographic to look like before you start building just kind of really furthers you along the way. And usually having a good outline helps. I do a lot of graphic design work for Seneca. It's part of my portfolio. When I do graphic design work for Seneca, what color do you think I have to use all the time? Red, yeah, I don't have a choice, it's a brand standard. But I know that when I make something, I don't know who's looking at it. And it could be me or you, and we might not have any problem reading this text. Or it could be someone who's colorblind, or someone with low vision. So I really have to make design choices that help communicate my message. And simple little things like color of text, font size, using italics or not, really helps. And this always leads me to this one artist that I love to show, because I think she is super talented, and she makes these amazing infographics using real pictures. I'll just show you a couple. And what she does is she gets a photo and she embeds some information on top of it. And again, I think they're really creative. They're fun to look at. But sometimes there's something that really bugs me about them. And I don't think it's the decisions I would have made if I was designing it myself. And here's a good example of one. What do you think I don't like about this infographic? What's that? I think I heard it. The text. What's wrong with the text? It's so hard to read. It's like white text on top of a kind of almost white background. It's almost illegible. And this is a good example of what I like to balance when I design. So I like to balance two things, form and function. And what I mean by form is, how does it look? What colors did I use? Does it look pretty? Am I happy with it visually? Because that's important in an infographic, it really is. But function is, what's the infographic supposed to do? Most likely it's supposed to communicate something. It's supposed to relay a message, an idea. And if the function is not happening, if it's not communicating that message, then it doesn't matter how nice it looks or what form it takes, because it's not communicating, it's not doing its job. And that's a clear example of that. I mentioned infographics in social media. This one artist, another artist that I really like her work, she does infographics using kind of like live objects. And she does some really great stuff. Let me see if I can find a good example of one. Here. So here, the artist got a real picture of a watermelon, well, an Eden one. And if you ever wanted to take photos like this, like product photography, we have all the equipment in the studio. Come on in, we'll show you how. But anyways, watermelon popularity throughout a year. And she uses a watermelon as kind of like the bar graph, and she notes it by month. And I know now that in July and June, there's a lot of watermelon consumption, maybe not as much as in December, that makes sense. But let's say I wanted to know an actual figure, like how many watermelons were consumed in July. This doesn't tell me, right? There's no actual graphical information on there. So although this looks great and it's kind of fun, it's not really communicating the whole message. And if that's information that I need my infographic to communicate, then it's definitely worth embedding on here. So follow through with your idea. Make sure that whatever design you choose, it's still doing its job. It's still functioning properly. And the last point I'll actually use a PowerPoint slide, because we do see a lot of PowerPoint slides. Is there something wrong with this slide? There's a few things wrong with it, actually. What's wrong with this slide?
The background color of the
Yeah, the background color is kind of annoying. I'm not a huge fan of it. It gets a little bit too close to the text. Anything else? How about the words? There's too many words on this infographic. Or sorry, on this PowerPoint slide. And let's say this was in my presentation, I guarantee you one of three things would happen. One, you would listen to me and not read what's on my slide, probably. Two, you'll read what's on my slide and you won't listen to what I'm saying. Respectable. But what most likely will happen is you'll try to read what's on the slide, you'll try to listen to me, but you won't do it either very well. So when you make your infographic, really focus on what words make it onto your infographic. I do some design work, and when I do that, because I work for the library, I do that with a lot of librarians, and you've never seen someone disseminate text until you work with a librarian. They go through every single word, every punctuation, and they want to make sure that it's doing the job. And you should do the same with the infographic. Any word that you put in there should serve a purpose, or else it becomes distracting. All right? Any questions? Okay.